Welcome back to the Baseball Blue Book podcast. My name is Eric Wilbenaw, the president of the Baseball Blue Book. Are you in the book? The most comprehensive directory since 1909 is now available for download on Google Play and Apple Store. You can also visit us at baseballbluebook.com for more information. So make sure you download it today. Costs nothing. It's great to build a profile, add highlights, add your stats for the summer season, and search our comprehensive directory. Find the coach, the program that you are interested in. Before we begin, hit that like button, share and subscribe. We want to make sure we reach other viewers just like you to get this out. Today's podcast is brought to you by Empowerment Sports Group, a full advisory and consulting firm with over 10 years of experience, educating and helping athletes develop within baseball and life. ESG enables athletes to achieve their version of success and positively impact their community. For more information, visit them at esgsportsgroup.com or on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Joseph Guzman and Michael McGinnis over there, great guys, helped a lot of players. I've had the privilege of having them on a couple of podcasts with their players. So we're excited to have them as a sponsor. Today's guest, we've got Steve Lerud with us today. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
Doing well.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, and we'll get this thing going.
Yeah, my name's Steve Lerud. I'm currently living in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm from northern Nevada, originally Reno. I was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2003 in the third round. Spent 13 years playing altogether, finished up in 2017, did a little work, kind of special assignment work with the Rangers for a year in 17 there, and then got into the player development side. I managed in the Cubs organization for 3.5 years, and most recently I went to work for my old agent, and now I stay home and I work in some youth baseball spaces. I got a new daughter here, and excited to share.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's exciting. We appreciate you joining us here on the Baseball Blue Book podcast. I've got so many things. I'm a huge Pirate fan, so having you on, third round draft pick, that's when I was up in Pittsburgh. We talked a little bit about it before we got on this. I guess I just want to get my stuff out of the way, and then we'll kind of go backwards. Talk about getting drafted out of high school and going to the Pirates, and what was that like? And you know, there's so many. You're probably reminisced about this for a lot, but why don't you share with the audience and myself what that was like?
Yeah, I think for me, the whole process was something that definitely caught my family and myself by surprise. I wasn't on any showcase circuit, or didn't really play travel ball. I had a Legion team, a local Legion team that I played on. I was fortunate in high school that I played on a pretty high profile high school team. We were nationally ranked my freshman and sophomore year. And, you know, I got recruited by some big schools, but, you know, the scholarship offers were small, and my parents couldn't really afford to send me to some of those places out of state. Yeah. So I had signed to go to Santa Clara University. That was where I enjoyed the smaller campus and everything, thinking I wanted to stay close to home. And then my senior season, I really kind of put things together and put myself on the map, started getting a lot more attention. And next thing I know, I was in Florida instead of Santa Clara. So kind of a big change for me, and definitely culture shock. I'm not sure, and I talk about this with kids a lot now. I don't know how I would have handled all of that attention today with social media and all of the distractions that are magnified, I guess, even more than when I was going through it. So I think I'm thankful for that.
You know, that's a great point, because it seems like these kids, hell, I talked to a 14-year-old that is already committed to Tulane. And so it gets younger and younger, and I think the ability for them to handle it is impressive, but I don't know how good it is long term because of the pressure that we're putting on. I think he actually said, he goes, I'm 14 years old and I'm making adult decisions. And maybe to expect us to make the right decisions at 14 That's got to be a real challenge. You talked about kind of getting caught off guard, maybe a little bit, not being highly touted or didn't have a lot of the travel teams. What was that like? I mean, you said you put it all together in your senior year without all the social media. There still was you probably were still getting calls from a lot of different people, right? So
Sure.
kind of go into that a bit.
Yeah. And the rules have changed so much since then. I mean,
Yeah.
they couldn't even contact me until I think it was November of my junior year of high school. So,
Wow.
I mean, I didn't even, I would get letters in the mail. That used to be a thing. You had to go down to the mailbox and
You don't
and
even
pull
look
out a
that you don't even look that old.
But yeah, so from that standpoint, it definitely, I didn't have to make my decisions as soon.
Right.
And I'd like to think I was a little bit more mature than I was when I was 14, when I was making those decisions. So yeah, I think that it's a sticky situation for these kids now, because we're asking them to make
Yep.
um, lifelong decisions. I mean, the school that you're going to is not just it's not a 1 year decision. That's a 40, 50 year decision, right?
Yep.
And you're asking them to do that when they're 14. I don't think it's fair to a lot of the kids, and even more so, it's not fair to the parents putting them through that. Like, allowing your kid to be a kid is something that we're really losing sight of in this industry, I feel like.
No, it's crazy. It's almost like you've been listening. Well, you probably have been listening to some of the podcasts that I've done. So many people that I'm bringing in, they talk about that. One, bringing fun back to the game. Two, it's parents. You got to stay involved in some of these decisions because it's a big time decision. Three, don't pick a school because of baseball. Pick it because you like where you're going, because you're going to be spending X number of years there. And I think that realization of it, this may be a lifelong thing, or it may just be a temporal thing on baseball, is where it throws a lot of people, right? They're making big time decisions. They may just be getting a degree. So are they picking the right school for the right degree for the right reasons? And I think that really comes. You didn't have to go through that, but you had to early, right? You went right from high school into the majors. What were some of the things? Do you have a regret because you did that? Or is this, I don't have regrets, so I hate to say regret. Do you wish you had, done it differently, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think as human beings, we always wonder, what the other decision would have been, right? Like, I think it's just natural. So no, I can't say that I have any regrets. This game has afforded me so many opportunities. I mean, I've played all over the world, met some of my best friends, some of the best relationships I have, some of the best mentors I have, came from Pittsburgh, honestly. So if I wouldn't have made that decision, if my path would have been the same. So no, I can't say that there's regrets, but definitely, I think as a human and in human nature, you definitely think of, well, what if I would have gone to Santa Clara, or you never know what could have even happened from there.
Right.
For me, the decision was based on I really had aspirations to play in the major leagues, and I knew that I had chosen the school I was going to play baseball.
Yeah.
I wanted to go play baseball, and there was a team that was going to give me some money to go play baseball instead. And that was a hard decision for our family because both my parents are educators. My mom's a special needs teacher for 30 years, and my dad was a high school English teacher. So my sister's a lawyer back in Reno. So for me to make that decision was definitely hard for my family, and it was something that we definitely thought long and hard about.
No, it had to have been a difficult. I mean, now 2003, 2004 timeframe, the amount of money you had it probably made it a little easier. Because I've talked to a couple agents now, and now you can kind of see what you're going to get and make that decision to either kind of go back to school or not. When you made the decision, you signed the contract, you went there. Try to put it in perspective for our listeners. And the listeners are not, these guys there's kids, there are some coaches, but it's a lot of parents are listening to this. What was that like for you? If you can put that in perspective of what that decision was and what happened next.
I mean, I think the time that it became the most real after the draft and everything was I was at my high school graduation, and the scout who drafted me was sitting there next to my parents waiting to go negotiate a contract. Um, so you talk about enjoying like the last few days of high school. That's what I remember, is basically that guy being in my house or at my house talking to my father and on the phone with my advisor at the time. Um, so, after that contract signed, it was like you're on an airplane the next day, and
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm in this new place that I've never been. I had never spoken to a Dominican before, or a Venezuelan, or a Panamanian, and now my locker is next to all of them. They're my roommates next door.
Yeah.
I'm from Reno, Nevada. I didn't know how to do laundry. I had to learn how to do laundry. Just the comforts of home as a 17, 18-year-old kid that you're so used to, that's all taken away from you. And I think that's the realization, is that it sunk in that, holy cow, this is a job. You're a professional, and you have to find your way out of this place.
I think you just, that's a really good point. You're a professional, right? It's no longer just a game. Go back to your parents are both educators. That had obviously
Mhm.
had to have been a very difficult decision. Probably a lot of thought and conversation went into that. But it also shows that they were really good parents. If you were able to make that decision, what was some of the things, maybe some things that you remember that were said to you, or some bits of information from your mom or dad that really helped you kind of solidify that decision?
You know, Before the draft and everything, as things started becoming more, the picture was starting to unfold. We were starting to see kind of where I fit in, and getting a good idea of how we wanted to be compensated for it. Um, that's when my dad and I sat down, and he really had to explain finances to me. Like, what is life changing money? What does it look
Right.
like? What is something that you can build a nice future off of? And him and I sat down, and he painted that picture for me of what it would look like. And then it was really talking about the emotional side of it. Um, are you ready? I think that there's a lot of kids now that are definitely talented enough to go play professional baseball out of high school.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, you go to any of these complexes out here in Arizona, you have 16, 17-year-old Latin kids out here all the time. Um, I think the big difference is the mentality that those kids come from, right? I was talking about, I was used to having mom and dad there all the time, and a very structured life growing up. A lot of those kids, they don't have that there. Their way out of what they came from was
Right.
baseball. So I think from a mental standpoint, and talking about the emotions of it with my family, that was when I really had to dig deep and think of, if is this what I want to do? Am I
Yeah.
ready? And I decided I was, and I'm glad I did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, let's jump ahead of a few. So you played on a number of teams,
Yeah.
and I think you got your debut with the Phillies. Was that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah. Philadelphia.
Let's go there. We don't have to spend a lot of time with the majors, because I want to kind of jump ahead of what you're doing today. That's probably the most important. We love to talk about, our fun, the exciting times in the majors. But you went to the Phillies, that debut. To talk a bit about that.
Yeah. I didn't really remember a whole lot of it. I'll,
Okay.
I'll be honest. It's kind of an out of body experience. I, you know, it was such I had gone through a lot personally, when I was going through the minor leagues. So, I lost my father in 2007.
Wow.
And then, shortly after that, my best friend committed suicide. So, yeah. So for me, that was the culmination of all that.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a very, very special time. I got to spend it with my
Hmm.
mom. She still has that baseball. I got a hit in my second at bat off of. I was fortunate that I got to make my debut against a guy that I had a good amount of at bats against in the minor leagues. So there was some sense of comfort there, that I at least knew what it looked like and what was coming in. So I was fortunate that I was able to get that hit in my second at bat and get get that monkey off my back. So we won the game. Jonathan Papelbon saved it, and
Papelbon. Okay.
that's what I remember. It was a great day.
That's
Went out to dinner with my mom after, took her to a nice steakhouse, and thanked her.
That's awesome. It really put everything into perspective with kind of the life tragedies that you had. No, and bringing that to fruition and making it, I think that's pretty awesome. Jump ahead. What you looking back? We'll start with the looking back. What was your top 3 moments as a professional ball player?
Oof. Top 3 moments. Obviously my major league debut.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. Getting drafted is definitely something. I mean, I got to spend that with my family and my best friends. We kind of had a little draft party, so that's something I'll never forget. And honestly, some of the best experiences that I had playing professional baseball were playing winter ball.
Yeah.
Winter ball was so much fun. You know, I got to spend some time in the Dominican Republic, Panama. Even in high school, I was fortunate. I got to play on a team that traveled to Japan for a while. Awesome. So like I said, it's taken me all over the world. And that's what I'm most grateful for, is just those experiences.
No, that's awesome. I was just, so go back to the draft. I know we were going to go ahead, but I was talking to a gentleman that was drafted by the White Sox this last year, and he had said he had been watching all the rounds. Now you were round 3. He was round, I can't remember what it was. I think it was 10 or something. He literally got up and was turning off the TV when he looked and saw his name go across the screen. Never got a call, never got anything. And he was like, "Oh my God, I got it." So what was, when you got 3rd round, you already kind of knew that you were going to be top 5 round from your agent?
Yeah.
So you knew?
Yeah.
Did you know where you were going to go before it started? I mean, pretty much.
No.
Okay.
No, it's funny because that was kind of the funny part about that. The draft day was, you know, I got a couple phone calls in the 2nd round saying, "Hey, this might be our spot here. We might take you, different clubs." Yeah. So it felt like a lot of letdown at first, and then when the 3rd round started, Tampa Bay actually called me. I'll never forget this. They called my house, and they said that they were getting ready to draft me. So that was the first pick in that round, and at that time we had dial-up internet. We had to sit there and watch it come through there on Baseball America. They would stream it.
Right.
So yeah, we had to get a second line at our house so that
you wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah. But so we're waiting for the pick to come through, and it said that they had taken Andrew Miller instead. He was supposed to go in the 1st round, but there were some bonus demands there.
Okay.
So of course, again, it was like, oh my gosh, I guess maybe it's not happening. And then a few minutes later, I had not talked to Pittsburgh. I hadn't really talked to the scouts at all there, and they called and said that they had just taken me. So awesome. It was like a lot of letdown to a lot of elation. It was a good day.
One last question on that. Was there a round that you guys were willing to say no, and you were going to go on to the next college?
You know, at that time, there wasn't really a cap system on the team, so it was more the dollars than it was the round. Okay. So no, we had given the team the number that would kind of be bottom dollar for us, and yeah. That's how it went then.
No, it
was Wild West.
Well, no, you're exactly right. It's like I think you had a lot more to say. You know, you talk to the agents today and some of the structures today, it's really crazy. I think you were fortunate to be doing it when you were doing it then, I think.
I agree, you know, and you see the way that it works now because there's not as many high school players taking it. The leverage isn't there for them as much to hold their scholarship, you know, in front of these teams. And it's also because a lot of these schools are signing so many players to come to the schools. The scholarship doesn't have as much of a value as I think it used to. There's these huge recruiting classes, right?
Yeah.
Transfer portal.
It's crazy. The portals has changed everything. You know, the number of roster spots has changed everything. There's just a lot of things. I mean, depending on the day of the week, you can talk to somebody that can go on for an hour about what they hate about it. I mean, it's crazy. I try to stay neutral. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's baseball. They tweak it all the time. So,
I tell guys all the time, you'll make your real money in the major leagues. So you still got to get there.
You still got to get there, and the ability or the number of people that make it are still the same as what it was 20 years ago, right?
Exactly.
It's no different. So, the best always make it. All right. So after you're done and you hung up your cleats, you said you also coached with the Cubs, right? Or was there something before the Cubs?
So I had signed in 2017. I went to camp with the Rangers to Major League camp, and I wasn't going to make the team. I didn't really feel like going back to the minor leagues. Yeah. I'd done it it was going to be my 14th year. And that's when I had a very good relationship with Jeff Bannister, who was the manager in Texas at the time. He was our field coordinator when I was in Pittsburgh, and also did a bunch of the catching instruction there. So him and I mean, he was a big part of, when my dad passed away, great support system for me. So he actually lobbied to kind of keep me in the organization as kind of a special assignment coach. So I would go, it's funny, I would go to AA Frisco. I was stationed in Arlington there. When the major league team was at home, I'd stay there and I'd help out on the staff there with some game planning and that sort of stuff. And then when they'd go on the road, I would go to AA Frisco and I'd work with their two catchers there, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Jose Trevino. Who are both now, one's the Yankees shortstop and the other's the Yankees catcher.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So they were trying to convert Kiner-Falefa to be a catcher, and he actually made his debut as a catcher. So now he's a Gold Glove infielder. He always was, but
right.
Super athletic player, fun to work with. So that was a fun transition for me. And then I was approached by the Cubs to come over and manage there, and went there in 2018. I was in short season, the Northwest League, and was fortunate that my first season we won the championship.
I was going to say, did you get the ring? You got a ring, didn't you?
Yeah, we won the championship there. That was a very fun summer. And the next year I went to Myrtle Beach, managed there. 2020 I did the alternate site in South Bend, which that was a grind. The 2020 season was definitely hard on all of us, I think. Yep. But being stationed there in the bubble, we were the grounds crew. I was a bullpen catcher. I was a coach. You had to wear a lot of hats there. So we got through it and got that season in, and that's when that off season I left the Cubs and I went to work for an agency, and I was done traveling. We got pregnant, and now I'm hanging out at home. Awesome. Working in some youth baseball spaces.
That's great. Well, I saw that you have something out on critique. Is that something just kind of to do to buy time, or are you looking to build out your instructor type side?
Yeah, it's something that a friend of mine actually is the guy who started it. So he asked me to start a profile, and so I did, and I've done a little bit of work on there. It's something obviously I'd love to grow. It's a cool space for people who have done things and have some stuff to share. I think it's not just sports. It's all sorts of different realms you can hit with critique. It's a cool little
It's
spot.
kind of like Patreon for
exactly
streamers and different things like that. I think it's pretty neat. Just to be able to do that. Okay, so you're having your first baby. I mean, you're kind of doing your own thing. What's next? What's next for you?
So I've been working with some youth clubs out here, coaching a couple of their teams, which has been a lot of fun. I got to keep up on my fungo game. That's important to me. My fungo game and my golf game.
Okay,
but. No, I recently actually just took on a position with a group called More Than Baseball. It's a nonprofit organization who I took the position of the director of youth baseball for them. So
awesome.
My job is basically to find former players across the country who might run facilities or have their own little businesses starting up, and bring camps over to them to help them, create revenue. More Than Baseball it's a really cool organization that was formed by a couple. They were current players at the time, but just it provides job training, scholarship opportunities, obviously the space that I work in, but all for former players, minor leaguers, helps pay bills for guys.
Okay.
Finding them work after baseball is really kind of the premise behind the organization. So I'm happy to be a part of that. And I just recently took that job. So that's a fun little project.
Is it you had mentioned youth before, but so is it kind of a combination of both youth and all the way up through to
Sure, exactly.
Okay.
So they take care of current minor leaguers as well, help them pay bills.
Okay.
They're doing a ton of work, just really trying to grow the game. So my job as youth baseball coordinator or director is to try and bring former players and bring them in and have them teach the game. I think that's something that is very important now. I don't think that you had to play, but I think that experience does hold some weight when you're talking to some of these kids and teaching them the game.
No, absolutely. Well, you get the immediate respect. I think that helps. Doesn't mean every former ball player knows how to teach either.
Definitely not. I mean, and I say that, some of the best coaches I had never played. And I think that you do see a lot in the youth game, though, that there is some irresponsible things being taught. And I think that's where a former player, and if they do have the gift of being able to teach, I do think that is a gift that you have.
Right.
Like you said, not everybody can do it. Then you need to get out there and make a difference. I think a lot of people like to complain about what's going on in the youth landscape today, but not a lot of people are doing anything about it. It's really easy to point out the obvious. I think that's something a lot of people are good at now.
They are. I think. Thank you, social media. Right. It's
right.
sarcasm and it's constant critiques. That's basically what it is. And it's fun to find people that really have a passion for the game. And I think that what you just said is exactly right. You bring a level of experience. I think one of the notes that you sent to me was I can bring a unique experience, a viewpoint of what it was like coming out of high school, going into this. Coaches, you until you live it, you really don't understand what's going on and kind of the mindset. Because you're right, the kids are being. It blows my mind what's happening now. You just said it. There's so many things that are wrong, but there's also so many things that are right. And I think one of the things I try to bring out is at the end of the day, we're trying to create men.
Yes.
In a world that is lacking some of the guidance and the people that can mentor for whatever reason. And I think that programs like More Than Baseball, I think that really helps. It's one of the things that Baseball Blue Book is doing. Actually the primary mission statement of the Baseball Blue Book is to reach everyone and give it and helping them find their next opportunity. And when we say
Definitely.
that, it's your next baseball opportunity could be in the game. It doesn't mean that you're playing at the next level. It's just baseball continues, and there's so many areas that people can be part of. And that's what's so exciting about baseball. It's a fraternity, but it's also it's unique in that aspect. So I think it's pretty neat.
Absolutely. And I think of the life lessons it teaches, getting through adversity, understanding failure, having to work on a team while still being an individual. That's something that is very, very hard.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that stuff is stressed enough now. I've gone out to a lot of these tournaments and whatnot around the country, and it's shocking. A lot of these kids now, they identify as just the baseball player, and you can see it on their face, right? It's something that it's worrisome, because I know that at one point in my life, that's probably what I identified as, is just a baseball player.
When you say that, just a baseball player, compared to what?
Compared to a son, compared to a friend, compared to, now I'm a father.
A teammate.
I think, you make a lot of selfish decisions, right? And here's the deal. A lot of people are catering to you.
Oh yeah.
And you see it now at the youth level so much that these kids, because somebody wrote something about them on whatever website it was, now they think that they've made it.
Yep.
And that's where you see a lot of this complacency set in, and these kids identify as this superstar already. Where my big thing is, here, I played professional baseball for 13 years. That's a really long career. I was done at 32 years old, and it's like you have to be something else a lot longer than you're a baseball player.
Exactly.
And I think that we're missing that when we're working with our youth now, is teaching them exactly like you're saying. It's a man's sport. You have to learn to deal with failure. You have to work through adversity on a team, and I think that that's something that needs to be stressed more in the youth side of the game now.
No, it's baseball is so unique. I played ball a long time ago and went into the business world, but I've hired a lot of people, and hiring baseball people was always my favorite because they knew how to lose.
Right.
and people that aren't in baseball don't really understand that. But when success is 30%, that changes people's perspective. And knowing how to handle adversity. I think you just brought up a really, really good point. You're an individual on a team sport, more than most sports, right? I mean, you're on your own, you're on an island, no matter what position that is, but you're still on a team sport. And the balance of that and understanding failure, understanding success, it really is it's a struggle. And like I said from the very beginning, 14-year-olds making adult decisions is just on top of all the things that are just normal baseball things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. It's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the families. Honestly, I don't think it's fair to the coaches that have to make these decisions now. I have a very good friend who is the recruiting coordinator at one of the top programs in the country. And I was talking to him about this last summer. We were at one of the big Perfect Game tournaments, and I was just asking him. I said, how do you do it?
Yeah.
How do you identify these kids at 14? Because I can't. I've been in the game my whole life. Like I don't think I could identify this kid and be like, this guy's going to impact my program when he's 20 years old.
Right. It's crazy.
And he told me, he said, I hate it. He's like, I absolutely hate it. But if I'm not doing it, then this school's doing it. And he started rattling off all the schools in the conference. And it's like, okay, I get it. And it's a Power 5 conference school that he's at. And
how many stories are it? I mean, I had a story. I interviewed another kid. He signed with a Power 5, and he went there. And the first day it was a tryout, and he didn't make the team. All of a sudden, he turned down 30 or 40 other schools to go to this school, and it's gone. And it is what it is. You better be prepared for it, right? You better be prepared for it. And I think, like you just said, if I'm not going to do it, somebody else is going to do it. So we've created a monster, but it's a great opportunity to teach. And, inside of the situation that you're in, you can't change it. Like, I think you said it perfectly. You can't bitch about, you can bitch all you want. Everybody wants to bitch about it, but what are you doing about it? So.
And that's where these kids need to understand when they do commit at this young age, like, it's not time to coast.
Exactly.
You got to work even harder now, because if you want to keep that, and that's the reality of it now. That's their reality. That's not the reality that I had to deal with, but things change.
Well, no, hey, talk about, if you committed early, how great would that be to just focus on getting better and not have to worry about any of the outside info, so it's a perfect opportunity to take what may not be good to just excel and do what you think you can do, so.
Exactly. And for me, that's something that these kids can control. I can control that.
Right.
I can control continuing to work. I can't control if I don't make that team when I get there, but if I know that I put in the work, the other opportunity will come.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking to you. We probably could do multiple segments of this. This one was just get to know you, find out what you're all about. It sounds like that you've got a really good thing with this More Than Baseball program. Why don't you give a shout out to it on what people can do to reach it? What are some social platforms that they can find out more information?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're both on Twitter, Instagram. The website is morethanbaseball.org, and there's opportunities to donate to the cause. You can look up some of the camps that we're going to have coming up, if they're near you. If anybody on here knows of a town and a place where we could bring one of those camps to you, we'd love to do that also. So go ahead and check us out, and you can always find me I'm on Twitter at Steve Lerud, and shoot me a DM, and we'll bring one over to you guys.
I think let's talk about Springfield, Missouri. That'd be great to have one there.
Absolutely, we could find something out there. Definitely.
That'd be great. All right. Well, hey Steve, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and you have a great evening.
All right, Eric. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us today. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.